So this recording is to show you how to use the amazing method for factoring, and this is helpful when a is greater than 1. So let's take a look at our first example. 2x squared plus x minus 15 equals 0. In the amazing method, you will start by taking a times c. Remember, a is the term that is in front of x squared, and c is the constant. So in this case, that would be 2 and negative 15, which would be negative 30. Then I'm going to look for values that multiply to negative 30. So I'm looking for negative 30, and two numbers would be 1 and 30. We'll worry about the signs in just a little bit. So we have 1 and 30, we have 2 and 15, we have 3 and 10, we have 5 and 6. Now what I'm looking for is a difference of positive 1. So a difference of positive 1 would be using 5 and 6, and I need it to be a positive 1, so that would be a negative 5 and a positive 6. So we've looked at this before with the tic-tac-toe method and with the factoring by grouping method, but now let's look at it with the amazing method, and it's called that because we're using the a value quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take x. Notice I'm not going to put a number in front of x right now. I'm going to say x minus, and instead of 5, it's going to be 5 over a, which is 2. And then I'm going to say x plus 6 over 2. So notice each time I'm using these two values, but I'm dividing it by a. Now in our first binomial, and again this is equal to 0, in our first binomial, 5 over 2 is a fraction. So what happens when we have a fraction is we take this value, the denominator, and we pop it out front. So this one now becomes 2x minus 5. For our second one, we don't have to do that because 6 divided by 2 actually is 3. And so that is my second binomial, is x plus 3. And that's equal to 0. And then again, from here, if you were just asked to factor, then you are done. If you were asked to solve, I would set each of these equal to 0 and solve to get my two values of negative 5 halves and negative 3. Now let's try it one more time just to make sure we understand the concept. So I have 6x squared minus 7x minus 3 equals 0. And from here we're going to see if we can factor, again using the amazing method. So if I take a times c, in this case that would be 6 times negative 3, which is negative 18. I'm looking for values that multiply to negative 18. 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. And again, if you know it right away, then you don't have to make this table. This is just if you need to list them out. So I was just listing out numbers that multiply to 18. In this case, I was looking for a difference of negative 7. So that looks to be the 2 and the 9. And again, I would be looking at, because it's negative 7, a positive 2 and a negative 9. So I would take x plus 2 over 6, and I would take x minus 9 over 6 equals 0. And the first thing I would do is reduce as much as I can. So I'm going to rewrite this as x plus 1/3, because 2 6 reduces to 1/3, and x minus 3 halves, because 9 6 reduces to 3 halves. And then from there, I'm now going to use that method where I'm taking that denominator and popping it out to the front. So what I'm dealing with now is 3x plus 1 and 2x minus 3 equals 0. And again, I'm not going to continue and solve that because I'm sure you know what you're doing, but if you're struggling with factoring, this is a great, easy way to do it.